What's happening around the world?
And what's happening here at home? Good evening and a very warm welcome. You're watching Primetime News on TV1. Bringing you the news, I'm Theruni Karunaratna.
And I'm Sandru Ferdinando. Let's take a look at your headlines for tonight.
Will Namal run for president as the SLPP candidate? Prasanna says SLPP lacks a presidential candidate and Basil is a better national organizer than Namal. 4 Chinese research ships in Indian Ocean. India responds with 1 ship, 11 subs. Yana Sarathero sentenced to 4 years hard labour. Ex-Health Minister Kehelia returned to remand custody.
When's the election?
The political landscape in Sri Lanka is abuzz with speculation as Namal Rajapaksa, the recently appointed national organizer of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, steps into the limelight.
The burning question on everyone's mind: will he also throw his hat into the presidential race? Party supporters in Beliata welcome the MP cheering him on as the country's future president.
Namal Rajapaksa, the newly appointed national organizer of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, paid solemn floral tributes to the statue of the late D.A. Rajapaksa in Beliata today. SLPP supporters marched upon welcoming Namal Rajapaksa.
We will announce it when the presidential election is declared. There are calls for a general election. As per the constitution, a presidential election must take place. No matter what election is declared, the SLPP is ready. Some people stitch their clothes early. We have time. We will take a look at the auspicious times and be prepared. We won't panic like them. Whatever election is called for, as per the constitution, we are ready for it.
When's the election?
Is Namal Rajapaksa the SLPP candidate for the presidential election? Johnston Fernando responded to these claims.
එහෙම තීන්දුවක් අරගෙන නැහැ. ජනාධිපති මැතිවරණයේ ජනාධිපති අපේක්ෂකයා තෝරන්නේ මැතිවරණයට දින නියම කෙරුවෙන් පස්සේ. මං හිතන්නේ අපේ පක්ෂයට අනිත් පක්ෂවල වගේ ප්‍රශ්න නැහැ. ඔබතුමාලා වර්තමාන ජනාධිපතිවරයාට සහාය දක්වයි ඉදිරියේ. නෑ ඒක තීන්දුව වෙන්න දැනටත් අපි සහයෝගය දෙනවානේ. ජනාධිපතිතුමා පත් කිරුවෙත් අපි එතුමාට අද වෙනකන් අපේ සහයෝගය ලබා දීලා තියෙනවා. දැන් බැසිල් රාජපක්ෂ මහතා ලංකාවට ඇවිල්ලා එතුමාත් පොඩි ප්ලෑන් එකක් ගන්න. පොඩි ප්ලෑන් ගන්න නැහැ බැසිල් රාජපක්ෂ. බැසිල් රාජපක්ෂ හොඳ ප්ලෑන් ගන්න. අපේ පක්ෂය ඉදිරිපත් වෙච්ච මැතිවරණ තුනම ජයග්‍රහණය කරපු පක්ෂයක්.
When's the election?
In a significant statement at the SLPP headquarters, Minister Prasanna Ranatunga expressed that Basil Rajapaksa should persist in his position as the national organizer. Ranatunga acknowledged that the party currently lacks a suitable presidential candidate for the upcoming elections.
I personally believe that Basil Rajapaksa should have remained in that post. He took up the responsibility when the party suffered the most in 2015. We are used to working with him. When a new person is appointed, it takes time to get used to him. I believe that the challenge should be accepted by Basil Rajapaksa. If one is working based on votes, then it is not possible to engage in politics while working as a national organizer. Basil Rajapaksa has been there since 2015. In 2005, he worked behind the scenes on Mahinda Rajapaksa's campaign.
කණ්ඩායමකට තියා ගැනීම මේ ඔක්කොම එතුමාගේ වගකීමයි.
නමට විතරක් ජාතික සංවිධානයක් කළා පිටිපස්සේ දැන් බැසිල් මහත්තයා මෙහෙවනවා වගේ එහෙම අදහසක් එයිද දන්නේ නැහැ අපිට ටික දවසක් යනකොට එහෙමද?
හිතන්නේ බැසිල් මහත්තයා කියන කෙනා කිව්වොත් දෙයක් කරන දේ කියන කෙනෙක් නේ.
මේ නාමල් මහත්තයා ජනාධිපතිවරණය සඳහා සූදානම් කිරීමක්ද මේ පටන් ගත්තේ?
මං හිතන්නේ නාමල් තව අවුරුදු 5-10ක් යනකොට
I believe he will get that opportunity in another 5 to 10 years. Then he can run for office and gain experience. He should understand the situation and build a new foundation for the campaign. It is good for him to gain experience and accept the challenge. If he wishes to take up the challenge, there is no issue.
දැකීමක් ගන්න එහෙම හොඳ නැහැ. ඒ අභියෝග පාර ගන්න තමයි. එහාට පාර ගන්න ඕන නම් එයා බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා නම් එහෙම වකීම් අරන් කරාට කමක් නැහැ.
මේ ගමනත් ඉන්න ජනාධිපතිවරයා යන තෝරගන්නේ නේ.
මගේ මතය ඒකනේ. මම අදත් කියන්නේ ජනාධිපතිවරණයකට යන්නත් ඕනේ. ඒ වගේම මේ අභියෝග බාර ගන්න පුළුවන් රටේ ආර්ථික ගොඩනගු නායකයෙක් හැටියට අනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්තයා දින ජයග්‍රහණය කරන්න ඕනේ.
දැන් ඔබතුමා පිළිගන්නවද විශ්වාස කරනවද හිතනවද මේ වෙලාවේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා පොදු ජන පෙරමුණ සතුව ජනාධිපති අපේක්ෂකත්වයට සුදුසු කෙනෙක් නැහැ කියලා?
මට තේරෙන මායිම කරන කෙනෙක් නැහැ.
විශ්වාසින්ද කියන්නේ වගකීමෙන්ද?
ඉතින් මේ වගකීම නැතුව මාධ්‍ය බුරු කියනවා. මගේ මතයනේ මං කියන්නේ.
Wins the election.
The Jatika Jana Balawegya says that with the SLPP currently lacking a viable presidential candidate, Basil Rajapaksa is calling for a general election.
Basil cannot decide on this election. Is he the grand schemer and grand creator of the SLPP? No. Why is he calling for a parliamentary election? What happens if a presidential election is called for? Do they have a candidate? Mahinda Rajapaksa cannot because he is prevented by law from contesting a third time. Gotabaya also cannot. Basil will not get votes and Namal is still young. So there is no one in the family to run for office and they will not let an outsider run as well. Does the SLPP have a massive voter base? No. If anyone contests from the SLPP, that person will lose. Then they will lose the general elections as well.
Wins the election.
Sri Lanka does not belong to one family. The opposition leader expressed these views.
මේ රට අයිති එක පවුලකට නෙමෙයි. මේ රට අයිති ඒ පවුලටවත් ඒ පවුලේ හිතමිත්‍රාදීන්ටවත් නෙමෙයි. ඥාති හිතවතුන්ටවත් නෙමෙයි.
This country doesn't belong to one family. This country doesn't belong to a specific family or their associates. This country belongs to the 22 million people belonging to the Sinhala, Tamil, Muslim and Burgher communities. It belongs to Sri Lankan citizens. Some people transfer the party ownership from father to son and it is written to their grandchildren thereafter. We have signs of political parties remaining within one family in our country. Although parties can do this, we have no use for parties. The country belongs to the 22 million people. We will work to build the country as temporary caretakers while prioritizing the democratic rights of the 22 million people. We will definitely take the country out of bankruptcy.
බංකොලොත්තුණු අපේ රට බංකොලොත් භාවයෙන් මිදෙන තත්වයට ගෙන එන්නට අපි අනිවාර්යෙන්ම කටයුතු කරනවා.
The opposition leader gifted a smart classroom worth 1 million rupees to the Olumadu Tamil Mahavidyalaya in Nadunkerni, Vavuniya under the 136th phase of the Sakwala program.
When you answer, it's good.
This afternoon, a series of lectures aimed at advocating the advantages of fostering a robust political culture took place in Colombo. Hosted at Vyarama Devi Park, the event was orchestrated by the March 12 movement.
We know that there was a public uprising that we had never seen before in 2022. It was understood at that point that a system change was required. It was understood that the reason for the country's bankruptcy was an issue with governance and politics in the country. This year is important as it is an election year. We all have a role to play. We are at a point where all hopes are lost about changing this corrupt governance system. However, if we unite, that is sure to spark some hope to make the change we need.
This is a decisive moment for us citizens. If this slips through our fingers, we are done for. A main reason for the present political and economic crisis is the lack of leadership. That is why we fall from bad to worse. Let us obtain solutions for the pressing issues we face for the present and future generations, and we must get these policies as written promises. Let us obtain these promises as an affidavit or with a political basis to ensure they are kept. We will publicly condemn those who cannot give us these written promises.
This program was held throughout the day at the Vihara Mahadevi Park with the participation of civil activists, professionals and intellectuals who can influence society.
The presidential election should be held by October this year. The president can hold the parliamentary elections at any given time. If the government decides to do so, there is no obstacle to hold the provincial council and local government elections within a few months as well. Suitable MPs and a head of state with a vision should be elected in order to come out of the present socio-economic crisis. March 12 movement representatives from all districts convened at the Vihara Mahadevi Park today to urge authorities regarding how political parties should act during the upcoming elections and the candidates who should be nominated for the parliamentary and provincial council elections. We also aim to raise public awareness regarding the manner in which voters should cast their ballot.
Exhibition stalls were also in place to raise public awareness regarding the functions and practical operations of state institutions such as the National Election Commission, Human Rights Commission of Sri Lanka, Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption, and National Child Protection Authority. The Maligakhanda Magistrates Court ordered former President Maithripala Sirisena to provide a statement to court on the 4th of April based on the recent comments he made over the 2019 Easter Sunday terror attacks. This decision follows Maithripala Sirisena's recent statement to the Criminal Investigation Department, which was taken into account by the court. The Criminal Investigations Department, acting upon directives from the Attorney General, presented those developments before the court today.
In a high-stakes geopolitical maneuver, India has issued a notice to airmen imposing a long no-fly zone.
This is after several Chinese research vessels are reportedly operating in the Indian Ocean region, close to the Sea of Sri Lanka. Is the Indian Ocean region opening up to a new geopolitical spat? Newsfirst takes a look.
Open source maritime tracking data has revealed that there are not one but at least 4 Chinese research ships meandering in the Indian Ocean. The 4 Chinese vessels have been identified as Xiangyang Hong 1, Chinese Oceanographic Survey and Research Ship, Xiangyang Hong 3, Chinese Oceanographic Survey and Research Ship, Yuan Wang 3, Chinese Satellite and Missile Tracking Ship, Dayang Hao, Chinese Marine Resource Survey ship. The Xiangyang Hong 1 was located close to the 90 East Ridge in the Indian Ocean. Xiangyang Hong 3 was located southwest of the Sea of Sri Lanka. Yuan Wang 3 has been stationary for almost 2 weeks southeast of the Sea of Sri Lanka. Dayang Hao was located to the south of Sri Lanka in the Indian Ocean region. What are these Chinese vessels doing in this region? Recent reports from Indian media highlight the presence of Chinese naval vessels in the Indian Ocean during India's ballistic missile testing. Notably, on the 11th of March, India conducted a test of its latest missile, the Agni 5, launched from the Abdul Kalam Centre in Odisha. The Indian Defence Research and Development Organisation spearheaded this critical test, resulting in a successful outcome that was also praised by Prime Minister Modi. The Agni 5 is a formidable missile with the capability to engage multiple targets simultaneously. However, during this test, the Chinese research vessel Xiangyang Hong 1 was reportedly anchored just 480 kilometers off the Visakhapatnam coast. As tensions persist, India has announced plans for another missile test in the coming weeks. What is India's response? India has issued a NOTAM, or a notice to airmen, with a long no-fly zone from the 3rd to the 4th of April. A notification by India for a no-fly zone over the Bay of Bengal region indicates a likely missile test. According to Indian media reports, the expected date of the missile test is between the 3rd and 4th of April. In the latest development, Indian media said that India positioned the research ship RV Samudraratnakar near the Chinese spy ships. In a bold display of strength, India has deployed 11 submarines simultaneously in a strategic move aimed at signalling resolve amidst escalating tensions with China. This also marks the first such display of power by India's conventional submarine fleet in 3 decades. All these developments come after Sri Lanka revealed it amended its previous stance on research vessels to allow them for replenishment. There is also widespread speculation that the Chinese vessels will be making a port call at Colombo after Sri Lanka lifted its moratorium on research vessels.
Sri Lanka's Prime Minister has said that China is to develop the strategic Hambantota port and Colombo airport. This was reported by Chinese media following the Prime Minister's meeting with his Chinese counterpart.
Sri Lanka's Prime Minister said on Wednesday that China has pledged to develop the island nation's strategic deep sea port and the capital's airport after talks with his counterpart in Beijing. According to Chinese media reports, Gunawardena said Beijing has offered assistance to develop Colombo International Airport and Hambantota Port without giving further details. A Japanese-funded expansion of Colombo Airport had been on hold since Sri Lanka's sovereign debt default. The southern seaport of Hambantota was handed to a Chinese state-owned company in 2017 on a 99-year lease for $1.12 billion, sparking security concerns in Beijing's regional rival India. India and the United States are both concerned that a Chinese foothold at Hambantota on the island's southern coast could boost its naval advantage in the Indian Ocean. Sri Lanka has insisted its ports will not be used for any military purposes, but New Delhi has objected to Chinese research vessels calling at Hambantota, fearing that they could be used for espionage. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena said China, the island's biggest bilateral creditor, would assist Sri Lanka's restructuring of external debt, a key condition to maintaining a $2.9 billion IMF bailout. Beijing's position on debt restructuring has not been made public, but Sri Lankan officials have said China was reluctant to take a haircut on its loans, but could extend the tenure and adjust interest rates. Sri Lanka in 2022 ran out of foreign exchange to finance essential imports and declared a sovereign default on its $46 billion foreign debt. Gunawardena's office said Premier Lee Kiang had promised China would assist Sri Lanka's debt restructuring process continuously and help Sri Lanka to develop its economy.
Shakti Crown, a platform dedicated to nurturing Sri Lankan talent, particularly among our vibrant youth, is poised for its inaugural television showcase. This aims to propel gifted singers onto the international stage, fostering artistic excellence and cultural exchange.
As the curtain rises, anticipation mounts for a harmonious journey that transcends borders and celebrates the power of music.
Amidst the gentle embrace of time, meticulous preparations unfold to accompany the luminous talents unearthed during the month-long nationwide preliminary selections. For some, this opportunity serves as an awakening, an unveiling of latent abilities that had remained veiled until Shakti Crown cast its benevolent spotlight. Yet, there are those whose gifts remained unshared, their brilliance awaiting its moment. Enter Shakti TV, the Tamil media channel under the aegis of MTV Channel Private Limited that journeyed to the heart of villagers seeking these gifted souls. Their mission: to amplify voices, ignite dreams, and orchestrate a symphony of artistic revelation.
It has been a great experience for me here. I have made some good friends and I'm so excited about the coming up rounds as well. So just don't forget to watch Shakti Crown every Saturday, Sundays at 8:30 p.m. We are waiting to excite you.
You're watching Shakti Crown. It's an initiative brought by Shakti TV, and it's a great initiative for a lot of people to explore their music talents and also to break their courage and increase their self-esteem. This show is going to be going out online every Saturday and Sunday at 9:30 p.m. on Shakti TV. So please don't forget to watch and please don't forget to support every other contestants. Just enjoy the whole show.
The Stein Studios in Rotmalana stands as a pristine canvas where the artistry of these individuals is meticulously captured.
Shakti Crown, a grand program done by Shakti TV where thousands participated and 128 amazing voices from around the country were picked and chosen. You can witness these amazing singing talents every Saturday and Sunday at 8:30 p.m. This contest can be witnessed for the next 5 months. We wish to ask the viewers all their love and support be shared to the contestants.
On March 30th, a constellation of budding singing stars will grace the stage at Stein Studios.
Following the tremendous success of Shakti Junior Superstar and Shakti Superstar, Sri Lankan Tamil language powerhouse, Shakti TV presents yet another exciting reality music experience, bringing to you Shakti Crown.
Shakti Crown, with its visionary compass, charts a course beyond borders. Its mission, to nurture the gifted souls, sculpting them into international luminaries.
Shakti Crown.
The Colombo High Court sentenced Venerable Galagodatte Nyanasara Thero, who served as the General Secretary of the Bodu Bala Sena organization, to 4 years of imprisonment with hard labor.
The charges against Nyanasara Thero stem from events that unfolded during a press conference held in Colombo back in 2016, and he was found guilty on 2 counts specifically for actions that were deemed detrimental to national and religious harmony.
The case against Venerable Galagodatte Nyanasara Thero was taken up in the presence of Colombo High Court Judge Aditya Patabendige. The Attorney General brought forward allegations asserting that the accused had committed offences punishable under Section 291B of the Penal Code. At an earlier session of the trial, the defendant addressed the court from the dock, expressing remorse for any harm caused to the Muslim community. Despite this statement, the judge noted that the defendant did not refute the allegations and both charges presented by the prosecution were proven beyond reasonable doubt. Consequently, the judge determined that the remarks made by the defendant during the press conference were not inadvertent but rather deliberate and malicious expressions of religious animosity. Highlighting the responsibility of a monk to uphold national religious harmony, the judge delivered a verdict underscoring that such inflammatory statements could exacerbate ethnic and religious tensions within the country. The defence attorney for Venerable Galagodatte Nyanasara Thero argued that since his client had not committed any significant offences subsequent to the amnesty granted by President Maithripala Sirisena after he was found guilty of contempt of court earlier, the court should take this into account and consider a suspended sentence instead. In response, the prosecuting state's attorney stressed to the court that verbal offences carry greater gravity than physical harm, likening words to stabbing, and asserted that an apology following an act of violence does not diminish the seriousness of the offence. After careful deliberation, the judge found Venerable Galagodatte Nyanasara Thero guilty on both counts presented by the Attorney General and sentenced him to 4 years of hard labour along with a fine of 100,000 rupees. Prisons Commissioner General Tushar Indunil told Newsfirst that Venerable Galagodatte Nyanasara Thero was moved to the Valikada prison.
Colombo Chief Magistrate Prasanna Alves issued an order for the acquittal and release of Venerable Galvava Siridhamma Thero, the former convener of the Inter-University Bhikkhu Federation, in a case alleging offences under the Prevention of Terrorism Act. The magistrate concluded that there was insufficient evidence to proceed with the charges against the suspect under the Prevention of Terrorism Act. Additionally, Vasantha Mudalige, the former convener of the Inter-University Students Federation and initially named as the first suspect in the case, was acquitted by Colombo Chief Magistrate Prasanna Alves on an earlier occasion.
I wish to tell the people, do not fear oppression. We are witnessing oppression right now. The people cannot survive. Justice will prevail.
යුක්තිය ජය ගන්නවා. ඒ වගේම කාට හරි සාධාරණයෙන් ජය ගන්න.
9 suspects, among them Kehelia Rambukwella, the former health minister, have been remanded until the 8th of April in relation to the medicine procurement scandal. The case was taken up this afternoon at the Maligakanda Magistrates Court.
Former Minister Kehelia Rambukwella arrived at the court today in a prison van, while the remaining suspects were transported in a prison bus. The Maligakanda Magistrates Court is hearing a case involving the illicit acquisition of counterfeit drugs from an unregistered company. These spurious medications were subsequently introduced into the hospital system, masquerading as human immunoglobulin and rituximab. Among the suspects implicated in this intricate web of deception are several prominent figures: former Minister Kehelia Rambukwella, former Health Secretary Janakashri Chandragupta, Additional Secretary Saman Ratnayaka, company owner Sudat Janaka Fernando, and former director of the Medical Supplies Division, Dr. Kapila Wikramanayaka. During today's court proceedings, the Deputy Solicitor General provided a comprehensive update on the ongoing investigation. She sought permission to inquire from the Director General of Health Services about the distribution of the 2 questionable drugs within hospital systems. Additionally, she requested details regarding the patients who received these medicines and the specific wards involved. The Additional Solicitor General also sought permission to delve into the complications experienced by patients who administered these drugs. This includes investigating any unfortunate fatalities that occurred as a result. In light of these serious allegations, Maligakanda Magistrate Lochana Abe Wikrama granted permission and remanded the suspects until the 8th of April. Meanwhile, in a separate legal development, a petition was filed in the Court of Appeal on behalf of Dr. Kapila Wikramanayaka, the remanded ex-director of the Medical Supplies Division. The petition seeks a writ order to suspend the ongoing case against Dr. Wikramanayaka in the Maligakanda Magistrates Court and release him on bail under any necessary conditions. President's Counsel Dr. Romesh De Silva and President's Counsel Sarath Jayamana represent the petitioner. Court of Appeal Justice D.M. Samarakon ordered that the petition will be reconvened on the 1st of April to consider the facts.
Dr. Chamal Sanjeeva, the chairman of the Medical and Civil Rights Professional Association, visited the Bribery Commission for an investigation regarding the drug procurement scandal.
දාම්ලෑල්ල ඉන්නේ අර දූෂිත දේශපාලකින් සහ දූෂිත නිලධාරීන් එක ගනුදෙනු කරපු.
What can be seen now is that even though 1 or 2 pieces of the checkers board has changed, it is clear that most of them in the checkers board are corrupt politicians and corrupt officials. At present, the data system of the Medical Supply Division is reporting that during the past 3 months, reports have been issued that nearly 16 materials used in surgical procedures are of bad quality. It is also clearly stated in the reports that the quality of the medicines manufactured by the State Pharmaceuticals Corporation of Sri Lanka is also questionable.
වෛද්‍ය සැපයුම් මේකකේ දේදුරුණ්ඩයස්ගේ අස්සරින් නිකුත් කරපු වාර්තාවල පැහැදිලිව සඳහන් වෙනවා.
A fire broke out in a tire shop in Sirimao Bandanaka Martha Armour Street, Colombo. No casualties were reported, however the shops were damaged.
Out at about 2:15 p.m. today. The fire brigade of the Colombo Municipal Council was informed within a few minutes after the fire broke out, and 25 firefighters and 8 fire trucks were deployed to the scene to douse the flames. One lane of the road from Ingurukade Junction to Armour Street was also temporarily closed due to the fire for almost 2 hours. The fire brigade of the Colombo Municipal Council confirmed that the fire, which lasted for almost 2 hours, was successfully extinguished by 4:15 p.m.
We have successfully put out the fire, however the heat of the fire can still be felt. There are about 8 fire trucks deployed. No casualties or injuries were reported.
The cause of the fire is yet to be determined.
The import tax on pink onions has been reduced.
The import tax for pink onions has been revised downwards to 10 rupees from 80 rupees.
In order to protect the red onion farmer, we imposed a 50 rupee tax and it will be maintained. The 10 rupee tax on big onions will be maintained. The 80 rupee tax on mid-sized onions was also reduced to 10 rupees with effect from midnight yesterday. We hope to bring the price of pink onions in the market to around 300 rupees.
Meanwhile, Expo Lanka has been delisted from the Colombo Stock Exchange.
The shareholders of Expo Lanka Holdings PLC at the extraordinary annual general meeting yesterday approved for the company to be delisted from the official list of the Colombo Stock Exchange. They also approved that the shares of any shareholder who wishes to sell their shares in view of the delisting be purchased by SG Holdings Global Private Limited at a price of 185 rupees per share. It was announced to the Colombo Stock Exchange that Expo Lanka Holdings PLC will change its name to Expo Lanka Holdings Limited.
Now, 7 more Indian fisher folk who trespassed and engaged in fishing in the Sea of Sri Lanka have been issued a suspended sentence and released.
The 7 fisher folk who were arrested on the 20th of March in Thalemana were produced in the Mana Magistrates Court today. Additional Magistrate Ladeep Pradeep ordered the release of the 7 fishermen with a suspended sentence. The 3 arrested in the first boat were sentenced to 1 year imprisonment suspended for 5 years on charges of trespassing into Sri Lankan waters. The additional magistrate sentenced the 4 fisher folk arrested in the second boat to 23 months imprisonment suspended for 5 years on 3 charges, 1 year for the first charge, 6 months for the second charge and 5 months for the third charge. A charge sheet was filed by the Department of Maritime Affairs accusing the owners of the 2 boats as the first accused. Based on this, the court ordered the boat owners to appear before the court on the 11th of July. The High Commission has been directed to take steps to send the released fishermen to Mirihan interim camp and from there to India.
Indo-Lanka fishing controversy.
As the Indian Lok Sabha elections are approaching, the issue of the Indian Sri Lankan fisher folk has once again emerged as a major topic in Tamil Nadu. Former Chief Minister O. Pannirselvam, who went to Rameswaram in Tamil Nadu for election campaigns, said that he has initiated negotiations regarding the release of fisher folk arrested in Sri Lanka.
Sri Lankan Minister Senthil Thondaman is serving as Minister and Governor. We have spoken to him. He has said that he will immediately take action to release these 53 fishermen on bail. He has also said that boats will be sent to Rameswaram. He said that the fishermen's release will be expedited based on our request and they will be released without a punishment. We have spoken to the Indian Prime Minister, Labour Minister L. Murugan and Tamil Nadu leader Annamalai in this regard. I will take all these directly to the notice of the Prime Minister of India and take firm steps to resolve the issue.
Indo-Lanka fishing controversy.
Tamil Nadu State Secretary of the Communist Party of India, R. Mutharasan, has insisted that the central government should intervene and rescue the fisher folk sentenced to prison in Sri Lanka. In his statement, the BJP has been accused of not guaranteeing the protection of fisher folk's livelihood for the past 10 years. The Tamil Nadu State Executive Committee of the Communist Party of India has reportedly condemned the central government for failing to protect the livelihood of the fisher folk and urged them to release the fisher folk imprisoned in Sri Lanka and repatriate them.
Indo-Lanka fishing controversy.
The fisher folk of Jaffna have appreciated the measures taken by the Sri Lanka Navy to prevent the continued aggression of the Indian fisher folk in the Sea of Sri Lanka.
The Navy is arresting more Indian fisherfolk now. The boat operator is sentenced to 6 months in prison while second-time offenders are sentenced to 1 year. The fisherfolk on the boat are released. We appreciate it and hope they seize more boats. The National Security Advisor left to India for talks regarding a bridge between India and Sri Lanka. But today, has anyone spoken about the issue of fisherfolk? Why can't you talk about issues related to our fisherfolk and fisheries? All of you are supporting India. Today, our country has reached an economic crisis and we have no way out. We don't need to beg other countries to build a bridge. If the resources in the sea are protected and their boats are stopped from crossing the border, we will catch billions worth of fish in our sea and make foreign exchange for our government.
What happened to the victims of the Baltimore bridge collapse?
What developments were reported between the US-India ties?
And why is Argentina's new president planning to fire 70,000 government workers?
Ditmini and Kenza brings us the latest in the world today.
The bodies of 2 people have been recovered from a red pickup truck which was underwater where the Baltimore bridge collapsed. 8 construction workers were on the bridge when a ship struck it, plunging them into the waters below.
Now, Ditmini, 2 of the workers were rescued on the day, but the search continues for the other 4 who are all presumed dead. Salvage crews are working to address hazardous materials and accident investigators are on the scene as well. Now, 4 of the 6 victims of the bridge collapse have been named so far.
But police said the divers are no longer able to navigate the water safely because of concrete and debris found in the water. And officials said they're now using sonar scans and believe that vehicles that may contain other bodies are encased in superstructure and concrete that came down from this bridge collapse.
And also, Ditmini officials said 1 person who was in hospital after being pulled out of the water was also released.
Oh my gosh! No way in hell I just witnessed that.
Now, shifting our attention towards some news that's been happening in our neighboring country, India. The US has reiterated that it encouraged a transparent legal process in a corruption case against Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal. Now, the Ditmini State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller said that the US was closely following actions taken against opposition parties in India.
Miller's remarks came hours after India summoned a US diplomat over a similar comment he made on Tuesday. Kejriwal, who was arrested last week, has denied any wrongdoing.
And also hours before his arrest, India's main opposition Congress party had held a press conference saying that its bank accounts were frozen by the tax department ahead of the general elections. Now, Kejriwal's Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress have accused the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party government of political vendetta.
The BJP, however, denies any allegation, saying the investigative agencies were doing their work independently. Miller told reporters that US was also aware of the Congress party's allegations that the freezing of their bank accounts would make it challenging to effectively campaign in the upcoming elections.
Now, hours earlier, India's Foreign Ministry had summoned US Acting Deputy Chief of Mission Gloria Berbena to protest against similar remarks by Miller. Now, India has also issued a statement saying that in diplomacy, states are expected to be respectful of the sovereignty and international affairs of others.
Yes, and the US is the second country to comment on Kejriwal's arrest. Last week, the German Foreign Ministry also said it hoped that Kejriwal would get a fair and impartial trial, as India is a democratic nation. And India reacted strongly to these remarks as well and summoned a German diplomat to raise its objections.
Hey.
Now, Ditmini, moving on to more international news, Argentine President Javier Milei plans to fire 70,000 government workers in the coming months in one of the clearest signs yet of how the libertarian chainsaw-style approach intends to slash the swollen state. Now, beyond the job cuts, Milei boasted that he's frozen public works, cut off some funding to provincial governments, and terminated more than 200,000 social welfare plans, which he labeled as corrupt. It's all part of his strategy to reach a fiscal balance at any cost this year.
Now, while just a small fraction of Argentina's 3.5 million public sector workers, Milei's job cuts are bound to face more pushback from the country's powerful labor unions and could jeopardize his high approval ratings. Now, one union representing some government workers went on strike, while the government report detailed that private sector workers suffered the worst one-month wage loss in at least 3 decades once he took office in December.
And now, Milei cited polls showing Argentines are more optimistic about the economy's future, while a recent indicator of the public confidence in the government rose despite his austerity measures.
In more news overseas, Senegal's little-known opposition figure who was elected president this week in a tightly contested race won over 54% of the votes.
In a statement, US President Joe Biden said that the right to vote and also have that vote counted remains democracy's threshold liberty.
The Senegal presidential election on Sunday marked a stunning victory for 44-year-old Bassirou Diomaye Faye, who was freed from prison less than 2 weeks ago and is now due to be the youngest leader of the West African nation. The government-backed candidate, former Prime Minister Amadou Ba, conceded to Faye on Monday. President Macky Sall, who had backed Ba, also declared Faye the winner. The election came after months of unrest. President Sall sought to delay the election until December, but that move was blocked by the country's constitutional court and the government was forced to allow the election to go forward this month. US President Joe Biden in a statement congratulated Bassirou Diomaye Faye on his election as the next president of Senegal. He also extended wishes to the Senegalese people who have demonstrated that the right to vote and have that vote counted remains democracy's threshold liberty. Biden said he is looking forward to strengthening ties even further.
Today, the remains of the esteemed veteran cricketer Russell Harmer were placed at a private floral parlour in Colombo, allowing the public an opportunity to pay their final respects.
Russell Harmer, a distinguished Ceylonese cricketer, passed away last morning at the age of 84. An alumnus of Wesley College, Colombo, Harmer excelled as a wicket-keeper for the SSC and Nomads clubs. Notably, he was a key figure in the Maharaja team's participation in the Mercantile Cricket Association tournament. From 1968 to 1977, Harmer proudly represented the Sri Lankan cricket team, showcasing his exceptional talent on various competitive tours, including those to India and England. The late Harmer leaves behind 2 children. The final rites honouring Harmer's life will take place tomorrow at the Burala Cemetery.
And with that, we wrap up news for tonight.
Thank you for watching. Good night.